Hi, it's us again. I promise this is our last. Gotta get, yes. And in honor of talking about Train the Trainer, we are wearing our Monday Minutes shirts, which really kicked off this entire like Train the Trainer
paparazzi
process. So again, we've introduced ourselves 100 times. So we work at ByWater Solutions. We both started out as educators, and we started doing Monday Minutes as a way to share quick, short, ingestible videos that would teach people how to do something in Koha. We looked at our YouTube statistics to see how long people were actually watching the videos, and it was anywhere from about 2 to 5 minutes was kind of like our sweet spot. After 5 minutes, people would fall off. So our goal with Monday Minutes was to essentially create these digestible videos and make it really easy for people to learn something special in Koha. And we just realized we hit 3 years. Yeah. And they go out all over the country, all over the world, really. I mean, we send them not only to our partners, but to the Koha community in general. So we made it a mission to make sure that we essentially share that knowledge with all Koha users.
Well, and Jessie, and I don't think Brendan's here, but that's really what Brendan believes in this company, ByWater, is to share the knowledge and the education. So it's giving everybody the opportunity to learn this, whether they're a partner of ours. It's all accessible online, and to, you know, continue to educate and keep people knowledgeable about this software. Can I take this off? Because it's awkward. Because we like to party. Learning outcomes. So today, you know, part of our job in the beginning and still to this day is creating content and making education out there. So we want to talk to you all because as librarians, you have new staff, or you're migrating to Koha, or there's upgrades. So how are we going to get some best practices for engaging those learners? I mean, and we're going to talk about that, so I'm not going to even jump into that yet. We're also going to learn activities to encourage discussion. So also important to think about is how to get your staff engaged and thought-provoking and workflow, and how are we going to make this an easy process? Like Koha gives you many ways to do the same thing. And that's really how to engage that discussion with your staff to say, it's okay if you go up here and I go over here, we're going to get to the same place. And finally, how to plan for sessions to meet learner goals and objectives. It's really important to know that each individual staff member learn differently. You know, whether those tutorial videos are the best digestible content, or is it step-by-step, or is it doing it themselves, or is it something in their hand that they can hold versus looking at it on the computer? All those things we should think about, and making sure that we meet those goals and objectives of our staff and make them feel as most comfortable as we can. So first, got to develop a plan, whether this plan is you're migrating to Koha, or you're like, you know what, every time we have an upgrade, staff are kind of on edge. So let's figure out what's the best plan to get them all ready to go on that upgrade. So, you know, we think about these larger libraries that you have. I came from a very small library, so it's kind of different for me, but I know for the larger libraries out there, or even 20 people, you need to realize that maybe it's better to start kind of a train the trainer, get somebody involved, get a few folks involved in your staff to pass on that word. Because why? Consistency. We want to make sure we're getting the same thing to the people, not hearing it from Jessie one way and hearing it from Kelly another. That's going to cause confusion and frustration overall. So consistency in the message and the education part. Getting acceptance of your library staff. So making it so your library staff all know what to expect. Okay, I'm going to get you know, the release notes, or I'm going to get an overview, or I'm going to get, this is specific to my area. what should I get and what I'm going to see. So that acceptance. Communication, just that transparency. We all know Koha gets upgraded twice a year, but do our staff. So making sure that gets communicated, this is great, this is how we evolve, this is how Koha is going to get better. So communicating and getting people prepared. And then again, talking about that tailored learning, making sure that we're really getting all the ways we can communicate and teach our staff the best way possible. If we know that somebody prefers it in one format, let's make sure that that happens and tailor that learning to them. If they need 15 minutes to go watch 10 YouTube videos and that works better for them, that's absolutely something you should think about, because that's how they're going to feel the best that they can feel about their workflow.
Yeah. Actually, Nick gave us some really good feedback when he came to ByWater Solutions. Traditionally, we would have a blog post with a video on it, and Nicole created this robust collection of videos, but they did not include step-by-step instructions. And I remember Nick saying, like, I like to read step-by-step instructions. He's like, the video is great, but I want to also see those step-by-step instructions. And so moving forward, that was our goal, was to include different types of mediums, whether you're, an auditory or a visual, or, you want to see those step-by-step. So like we take all of that into consideration to make sure that we're meeting all of those different needs. So who should be the trainer? Someone that you can rely on, someone that is well-respected, someone that gets along with staff, someone that staff feels really comfortable talking to so they can give feedback. How many times have you been in a presentation or in a meeting, you ask a question and everyone just kind of sits there and looks at you, and they're thinking something, you can see it processing in their mind, but they're not asking. You want to make sure that you have somebody that's comfortable, that they feel comfortable asking questions to. Good communication skills. As Kelly mentioned in the last slide, you want somebody to be able to express the correct message, be transparent, and make sure you're getting that level of communication across. And then, of course, being flexible and open, being able to process and work with those individuals at various times, maybe have morning sessions, afternoon sessions, or making on-demand videos or materials available for your staff.
So, overall, we know that probably if you have a staff of, your library staff, one of the things that, are going to come up is upgrades. And that's where I always think that this is where, this is a great opportunity to think about what you can do and how you can build that curriculum in working with your staff. So defining the purpose, whether it's a migration, an upgrade, or new staff moving into new roles, that could be a different curriculum, but that purpose is to further the education of your staff. Training outcomes, maybe a timeline or the expectations of what you're looking for your staff to see. Give them that time period or a nice goal, or that expectation of what to have done at what point. So setting those training outcomes, because we all want to be ready for a migration. We all want to be ready for an upgrade and have everyone feel really good and really solid about coming into that day ready to excel. Design what they'll learn. I've been to many libraries training, and it's amazing what librarians will bring to be prepared. I saw somebody print the manual, brought it in a binder, and they were like, and they had something labeled on the front of it, one of those like Dymo labels that you print out. And it said, it said like, something, it was a Todd saying about a fire hydrant. Do you know that saying? Where it's like the fire hydrant's gonna you can't drink from a fire hydrant, like something like that. So you can't learn it all, but just try to get little digestible pieces of that. And she had that like on the binder to understand, like, this is a lot. Look at this binder, but I'm going to be fine. I'm going to take it in little bits and little bits. And to see people grow like that is amazing. And they went in super happy. And we should go back to training outcomes, or back to who's the trainer. Somebody who is positive as well, like just that positivity, because we drive from each other's feelings. So if you have a negative Nancy out there, that person is never going to give that same positive feeling as somebody like maybe Jessie, who's going to bring that excitement and like, this is great. And then create training materials. I know we all have so much time in the day to do this, but it's really great to have the opportunity to have like, this is what we are looking for. How do we get some material that we can repurpose time after time and just update as we go? We had an offline circ binder. So how often do we run the offline circ? Not very often, but that binder was there. So we were like ready to go. Or having circ policies at the desk somewhere, because then they know they can refer back to something in writing that they know. So that could be as simple as something, that training materials, to give them the opportunity to have a backup and they don't have to remember everything. Ooh, bring the excitement. 9 o'clock. They knew who to book for at 9 o'clock, right? So, as well as being positive, like just having that person that's interactive. I don't know anybody like that in this room. Do you, Jessie? No, it's pretty sad. I think that everybody has that person on their staff or knows who those folks are that are the interactive, that are ready to help anybody, to be fun, to make it fun, to be positive, and to engage. We've all seen those staff members that are just kind of, not really like, I'm so excited to come to work today. So you need somebody that's going to be fun and engage that person to say it's going to be a great day, because that thing we wanted to happen in Koha is happening today. Today is the upgrade and we're going to have so much fun, or learn about it before you get there. And then it's going to be super fun. Still talking?
One time somebody called us an ILS counselor. Being able to come and talk to us and, share their feelings, talk about what's going on. This is a big step. Change management is very hard. And I think a lot of times we try to channel that positivity and that excitement to our users so we can keep that momentum going. And that's always been our approach, to keep that excitement going. All right, so now we're going to share some tools that we use to make training exciting for users. So the first thing we'll talk about is documentation. So in our presentation yesterday, we showed off a couple different things. The community manual, which is available online. It's also embedded right in the staff interface. So it makes it really easy for users to get out there. Tutorial videos, there are fantastic tutorial videos. We saw in the first day's presentation, all of those that are available for RAF-LIMS, thank you. Great videos out there. Various vendors, PTFS Europe, Carolyn, Inlibro, Interleaf, everybody has information that they can share out there that's available, so you don't have to recreate the wheel. Take a look at those videos, share them with your users. Also the Koha Wiki. Christopher, Jason, everyone has talked about sharing like jQuery on there and CSS. This is a great place for you to go and start, look at that information, SQL reports, and to bring that information in. So don't recreate the wheel, check those places first. And if you are not signed up for the Koha community newsletter, make sure that you're on that list as well, because once a month, a link will come out. And I know it's available on social media, it comes through email. That has a list of all of the tutorial videos that are shared with the Koha community. So you can see any new publications that have come out from all different types of vendors that are using the Koha system.
We didn't talk about the Koha upgrades. So, when you know that that's come out, that's documented, we send out, and I know I saw PTFS Europe had some upgrade tutorial videos on YouTube to get, people up to date and get excited. I get excited about things coming, and I don't get to play with them all day long like y'all do. But just having that documentation to say, oh, 2205 has been released, these are great things, or just focus on circulation or focus on the cataloging. And looking at what's coming is also well documented and something you can really embrace.
And koha-US has fantastic tutorial videos every other Thursday. And then if you go to the website, there's also a learn section where you can see a lot of fantastic information, including some cheat sheets. I'm not sure what terminology do we use to call those sheets. Reference sheets.
Okay.
Where you can download those and just have them available for staff.
And we haven't created this resource page for all this, but we will link all this out. We talk about this one. There are also products that you can use if you're looking for, and I've seen some great ones. I think Brown Rock has something. It was Brown Rock we're going to show. Utilizing different products, because everyone's workflow is different, and being able to document that for your own library. Tango is a brand new piece of software that we've just recently found out about. Has anyone heard of Tango? Yep. Okay, perfect. And that's really cool to be able to do that with screenshots and then text involved as well. And it's a kind of nice workflow product. So if you haven't looked at that, go ahead and look at that. That's really cool. Canva, I'm sure everyone's heard of Canva. Yeah. That's another way to make something really pretty. I want to say I went to a library. We have a consortium of academic libraries in Massachusetts, and they're a consortium called Helm. And I went to their training, and they had so many posters like in the bathroom, the staff bathrooms, about like they were moving to Koha, and just these really positive signs and just this kind of motivation of like Koha and learning. And it was really great to see that staff was getting excited, or there was somebody on the staff to say, let's get excited, and they used Canva. Screencastify, anyone use that? Oh, yes. Okay. That is also, I think all these are free. That is also free, or at least they have a free piece of software. Screencastify allows you to, for free, do a 5-minute video. They have nice little pointers, so it like accentuates what you're pointing at, and you can send that to somebody through Google Drive or a link, and that makes it really nice. So that's another way to do it. And then Niche Academy, who's it? Oh, Niche Academy. I don't know it. Do you know if that one's free? Is it? Okay, perfect. So that's another way to break down the steps and create videos and steps to help your staff go through the process. So it might be something your library, your town has through the community resources or something. Oh. Okay. 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 That's wonderful. Some folks in the room are saying that through their state, they get Niche Academy for the libraries for free. So something you could always look up as well. I think we have a lot of resources that we might not know about, right? So, and then I talked to somebody else, they use Guide on the Side, which I don't know if it's free or not, but that's nice that like it pops out and there's step-by-steps as well. Does anyone, I should ask if anyone, oh, good job, Jessie, we're right on. Yeah. Anyone else use any other products that we might have forgotten about that you use? Perfect. Somebody in the room is using Camtasia. We also use Camtasia. We have very few subscriptions. You have to be a select few because it is kind of expensive and the upgrades don't come. Yeah, Michael. TechSmith Capture. Is that free or do you pay for that? It's free. Perfect. Oh, Web Junction. Yeah, perfect. Okay. I think I've seen that. Good. That's awesome. Oh, so now we have some examples of how you can use these tools, create tutorial videos. So think about it, Screencastify, Camtasia, even doing YouTube, you can like just use the Camtasia and then put it up, or use Screencastify and put it up into YouTube to create those tutorial videos. TechSmith, those step-by-step instructions. I still imagine those binders at my circ desk that just had that process already written out, or a process we don't do very often, claims returned or lost, getting into the weeds of circulation, like, oh, what am I supposed to do when I come across this thing? Those step-by-step instructions are great to have. Offline circ is another good example. Create a workflow PDF. I feel like the loss process in Koha was very convoluted back in the 1605, 1705 versions. It's gotten a little bit better, but those workflow PDFs are like sent to be able to say, this is the workflow, and you can have it on the desk or somewhere that you can refer back to it. So just a nice workflow document that you can print out, make pretty.
Creating serials from scratch, remembering which dates that you have to have exact in order for your prediction patterns to start. I've seen some good ones for that. Okay, internal documentation. There's our offline circulation workflow. We are going to show one that Round Rock shared with us many years ago when they were first going live with Koha that they've created. I think it was called a Red Book. It was called a Red Book, and it had different policies. It had, you know, guidelines that they could use. And I just remember sharing that with other people as they started to go live, you know, on their system. And it was truly helpful for them to have, you know, think about those first couple of weeks when you're transitioning to a new system. How many just little questions of things you don't do every day, you know, adding a guarantee or, you know, to a guarantor, or setting up duplicating a patron, you know, just like easy steps that they can refer to in the system. This is Round Rock's. This is just a screenshot, an example from Round Rock. Yeah. So this one was processing a new purchase suggestion. So, you know, they could see a breakdown for staff. There was a screenshot of what it looks like, how they can get there. And then of course, the red highlighting so they can see where they're managing this information, who's making and approving the suggestions, and then of course those steps. So this, you know, is just something great that you can set up and use for your users. This next one is Avalon Free Public Library, and they are using Tango, or is this Niche Academy? Niche Academy. This was an example that they were using to show people how to navigate the catalog, make a request, access reading history, and things like that. So just being able to have this on the website so they can see that information easily for them. This was a dream that we had from koha-US when they created their Learn section. I believe this was Jason. I'm looking at you, Jason. They set up a beautiful way for people to easily come in and find information. And when we were kind of redesigning our Koha tutorials and layout, we took a lot of the ideas that koha-US created, because we didn't want to recreate the wheel, and built a layout. So it would make it easy for users to come here and find self-paced learning tutorials, the APAC and the staff interface, your new director, being able to easily come in and find, you know, reports or tools that you would need. And then of course a whole section on explore Koha. So module specific locations where they can go in, they can search, and they can find that information easily. So that talked about this in my second presentation. Was that forever ago? Was that just Tuesday? Doesn't it feel like forever ago? I believe in continuous learning, and I think that, you know, anybody that has changed jobs or has been promoted or started working in a new area or just migrates to Koha should really know that we all want to continue to learn. We all want to be better people, better selves, better at our job.
So that continuous learning is really important. And if you're not doing that, please do some self-care on yourself for you're being here. So that's continuous learning. You're really doing that. But remember, check in with yourself every 3 to 6 months. Am I doing something that is going to make me a better person? Or can I do something to make my staff better at their job? So making sure we're always learning. I think we still learn doing Monday Minutes every week. Keep your content fresh. So maybe you need to just update some things in your internal documentation or on your website. Your CERC policies are really old, and that's what your staff is going back to look at. And you're like, oh my gosh, we probably should update that. Making sure your staff is aware of updates to koha and how it's going to improve their world, how they're going to better themselves with these new features that are coming in koha. And then staff promotion, making sure that that learning is getting to your staff and promoting your staff when they are really driven to learn maybe SQL or something and highlighting that area in their worlds. And I think I put a little quote here. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. So that's really important. Benjamin Franklin, smart man. And I'm a doer. Like if I learn something, I want to do it hands-on. So again, we'll go back to those test sites, having that access and letting your staff know you can just play around in here. If you're interested in going potentially to tech services, if you're in CERC, why don't you give it a shot or see what's involved and play around with it and watch those self-paced learning tutorial videos. Broken. Okay. I think everybody knows who we are, Jessie, but those are our emails. Know where to find us. What did we miss anything? Questions? Oh, come on. Oh. Open Shot Editor, which is a what? Free and open source software. Screencast-O-Matic. Oh, the camera app on Windows 11 to create videos as well. That's great. Thanks. We'll put all these down. I also think that this could be a community effort. If you do have something like Rhonda, that you want to say, this is really helpful to my staff, you can always share it with others through the listserv and say, hey, I have this, or I'm looking for this. Does anyone already have this created? That's a great way to start to say, this is really important. Somebody Andrew that used to work with us at ByWater, who's now back to a public library, he had all the admin codes, so authorized values, like printed up because he didn't have access to the admin when he was in whatever job he did at his library, but he had the code so he could run the reports. So giving people tools like that where you don't have permission to get to that place, but I have the access point to be able to get that and not have to ask somebody every time, can I get the authorized values for collection codes to run a report? Oh, yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but I think we created a wiki page a while ago for education resources.
We did? Oh, we did. Yeah, sure. I think we did. Yeah. We do have a really good documentation team at Koha Community, and we're doing great things. We just forget we do them. That's how great we are. If anyone's not been to the Koha Wiki, I think it's wiki.koha-community.org. Training resources.
You mentioned
Jason, the first Open Shot. Okay, so Fred said it has some early challenges in learning the process, but then it gets better. Oh, perfect. Yeah. You can also get a login to edit the wiki. I think you can request if you ever want to. This also, if anyone uses the Koha report wiki, you can add reports to the Koha wiki with a login. There is a blog post on ByWater's website to say how to add a report to a wiki, because that's really fantastic. Of course, we have them on a databases. If you're not using that or you're not sharing with that, you can do that as well. But I know people are like, I'm a creature of habit and I'll go to the Koha report wiki before I do Mana most days. You have a question, Ray? Glad I'm wearing my sneakers today.
Definitely. So we're new to Koha, and I'm just curious, how often are people training their trainers? Because we're still in the newish phase, but I'm curious for y'all who've been with Koha for a while, how often do you either drag people through training or strongly encourage it?
I go. Oh,
Honestly, it depends. I mean, we're just one single library, but it depends on what's in the upgrade. So like, depending on if there's wide ranging circulation stuff that's new, I might have a training for everybody that works at the circulation desk, which is pretty much all of our staff. But if it's just individual like acquisitions or tech services, we sort of talk to the people who are in those areas and say, you know, do you need more support than other than what you're seeing provided by ByWater? And we just kind of feel it out as we go. We don't have a huge staff. So
I'm part of the Central Kansas Library System Consortium, and we've got, every time we have an upgrade, we have 53 libraries that all upgrade together. And so that's a lot of training to do. And what I usually do is I go through all the upgrade notes and just take note of things that is actually going to affect them. We have a lot of one-person libraries, so they don't have time to sit down and watch a long webinar or a long tutorial. And then I'll just create a print tutorial that lists here are the things you need to know. And if you have any more problems, just contact me, because there's a lot of things that they don't really need to know. And it's helpful to not overwhelm them with that.
Just to add a slightly different perspective, in my company, we provide support to libraries around Ireland and Europe, and I'm often the one going in to train. And we have all kinds of different libraries. So we have school libraries, we have medical libraries. But one thing we started doing this about 2 years ago. We kind of every year at the end of the year, we go through how much training the different libraries have left. So if they've purchased training from us, we go through how much they have left. And then we tend to send out an email just to update them, just so you're aware you have X amount of hours left of official training. And I'm just saying that because I've been shocked at the amount of libraries that don't realize they actually are entitled to more training from us. So if you're in a position of a support company, it's an idea just to remind people. But if you're a library, I do think it's worthwhile contacting your support provider and just to say, I just want to confirm, do we have anything left? Do we not? Because it's amazing how frequent it is that people just don't take a note of the fact they have stuff left on the docket, just to add that.
thanks. Anybody else? That was a good question, Ray. Any other question? Oh,
I was inspired by Kelly and Jessie to create my own series of videos called 5-Minute Fridays. And I started that last year, and we have a lot of librarians where accessibility is a big concern. And so one of the things I learned was before recording a video is to increase the cursor size a lot so that it's easier to see what you're doing. And it's also really important to have a headset mic or something so that the sound is always consistent and it's always clear and loud.
we have to see these.
I decided to have some fun with it too. And our youth services department has tons and tons of fun hats. And so I always show up at the very end of the video wearing a different hat. And it's kind of people's reward for sitting through the whole video.
Oh, that's awesome. I know we're horrible with our sounds. We always forget to put our headsets on. We'll learn. Getting today. Getting almost there.
One problem I have encountered in doing videos, actually two problems. First of all, if I use my headset mic, I keep hearing. So I got a foam cover. But the other thing is, and I noticed this when I was listening to something I was doing here earlier this week, is when I take a breath, it sounds like I'm about to die. Do you have any suggestions how someone with asthma, I tried using a nebulizer, but how can you, do you have a wheeze filter?
We add closed captioning, which comes in YouTube. We turn that on when we upload them. So you could always add your closed captioning. So see what YouTube decides. Koha is spelled always wrong. Every time we use closed caption, I have to go and fix every koha.
This is not going to be of great help to you, Fred, but we have a noise reduction feature in Camtasia that I use for everything, because I also do a lot of the spits and the pops with my lips. And so that just calms it down. You might want to check with the open source thing and see if there's just a noise reduction filter that you can use.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to look at our Camtasia. You have a question?
No, I was just going to say that we use, I can't remember what the software is, and I think it was paid for, but I do a lot of sort of sound editing on the videos before I put them out. So take off the little pops and the wheezes, because they're actually quite distinct in the sound feed. I don't know the right word. The thing that's got lots of uppy downy things. And you can really see the wheezes and the ums. I take out a lot of ums and ahs and knows. So I do a lot of that. Audacity, is that what it was?
Audacity.
And as far as editing videos, I use Shotcut, which is a free video editing software.
Thanks. This is awesome. So excited. Oh, Andrew.
I was just going to also say that obviously this event is great for sharing ideas, but we and other support companies and geographic user groups will do this. So we have an annual customer day, and we always use that for giving signposting the new features that are coming out and signposting our videos and our tutorials. So we kind of have a roundup at that event to make sure everyone's aware of what's either coming up or come up, and then what resources are available for people to check in on and use. So I'm sure kind of koha-US might do that, and other support companies who organize annual events might do that, but it's a good idea to do a sort of annual roundup.
Really quick hardware hack. If you're having problems with plosives, which are those sort of explosions of sound, foam will help, but the best thing is to keep them away from the mic at all. And you can get what's called a pop filter for around $10 US, and they'll help a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a round screen you put in front of the microphone. Pop filter. Perfect. Anybody else? I've learned something today, Jessie. Have you? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And safe travels, everybody, as you